try to finish up those articles on Medium as well. It's something I kind of put it on hold when I started talking to you, because every week I seem to get new ideas, and I kind of feel like I'm better at writing every time we talk, because I just got new perspectives on things. So I'm kind of just waiting to see where it all evolves, and then I'll kind of be able to write it all without missing things or without having to rewrite it as much. So I'm kind of holding on that, but I think I'll try to do that this week.
This is a good practice. This is like something that I usually have a hard time to persuade people to do if they want to improve at speaking or writing. But like if you have like a regular brainstorming sessions and de facto debates, because like it doesn't really matter that this isn't like a debate that has a judge and like somebody has to win. Like those are like the irrelevant details. If you like just go through the arguments, that's like, and you say these things out loud, then that's making you a better speaker, because next time you will be in a situation publicly where you would want to speak about these things, you would have the thoughts sorted, and you would already have a muscle memory of saying the things because you've already said them out loud. So
I have to say, this is worth so much more to me than, I don't know if you've ever heard of this men's coaching stuff they have online. There's tons of different ones. I think and they charge you basically like $5,000 for a year of coaching, right? I don't know if you've heard of anything like it. I can't remember the name of the one I was doing. I looked into maybe 2 or 3 of them, and it was quite interesting. Because basically what it does is it keeps you honest, right? Every week you have like a session where you get together with 5 or 10 people from similar backgrounds, and you kind of encourage each other and help each other and talk about your problems and your solutions. And I thought, that's great. Why can't it be free? Why do you have to charge $5,000 for it? But like, this is the kind of thing that we're, if we can do it for each other and do it free for each other, then we're basically both getting $5,000 to $10,000 value out of it, where you'd have to pay, to be part of a group doing the same kind of thing. So it's pretty interesting.
My response to that would be just like, get a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, like everybody has a bunch of friends, and like friends for like, let's say, different things to do. Like you can have like a sports friends, and you can have like a drinking buddies. But then like just make a debate friend. Yeah. And this is like somebody who knows something about something, and then like you can just discuss things.
It's not always easy to do. I mean, I do have lots of friends. I mean, I've got hundreds of Facebook friends, but a lot of them, they just don't have as much time as I had to dedicate to these kinds of things. So, I mean, you're the first one in probably 15 years of searching that I've been able to kind of go with more than once or twice, because a lot of people, they get bored after one conversation, right? You say everything in 2 to 3 hours, and they'll be like, yeah, that's really interesting, but it's too complicated for me. I don't have time for this. It makes my mind ache thinking about all these problems.
Yeah,
so it's just been,
that's why there has to be a debater. It's a kind of person who enjoys talking, and that's why they did debating, but also somebody who, it's not a bug when something's like complex, and it's a feature. It's like if something's actually difficult to figure out, that's the interesting, fun stuff. It's not that it's like, what's the alternative? It's just like agreeing with each other for like an hour and learning nothing and just doing nothing.
Exactly.
But like there has to be an element of like challenge. Like I won't just like agree with 100% what you say. Whenever I have an objection, like there's a counter argument, then I say the counter argument, and that forces you to think through, like rethink what you previously believed. Like maybe you thought there's no problem with it. Now there may be a problem with it. And then through that, then you can, it should be fun. Like of course it takes a kind of personality. Like I don't think like everybody just has the personality to be able to enjoy this. But even if like you just like didn't necessarily enjoy it super much, but you wanted to make like improve your certain abilities and skills, then it still would be much better to do that than just like regular education. In most, like especially social fields and stuff, because the fact that you're learning by actively discussing or debating something is much more effective. So even if like it wasn't like super fun, then just do this not super fun thing as opposed to the other non super fun thing that will also not do anything.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But I think, again, a key point or a key thing that we could get out of this, or maybe publicizing this, is somehow connecting other people. Because if everybody can kind of find this good friend anywhere in the world, I was searching, like I said, I was searching for maybe 10, 15 years for a friend that was as interested in this kind of stuff as I was, and had the time and the dedication to kind of keep with it, keep progressing, and actually push each other. and continuously push each other to meet their goals and not just get tired or complacent or, lazy. So if we can help others kind of find that too, if everybody can kind of find maybe not a soulmate, but just kind of what's a good word for a good friend that pushes you, or best friend is kind of not really what I'm looking for, but some kind of word that's like a companion or that someone a coach. I mean, we're coaching each other as far as I can tell, and people are paying $5,000 a year for this kinds of entertainment or this kinds of interaction.
Yeah, in the corporate setting, it's usually mentorship or coaching are the words.
Yeah,
but it doesn't work because the best version of it, like you said, is like when it's mutual. The mentorship and coaching model I don't like generally too much, because it's one way in terms of like there's one person who's supposed to be the one who knows stuff and the other who's just there supposed to learn. But that's not stable in that, like, it can be stable if the mentor is paid money for the thing. But I've always had a aversion to that. But like every time I've seen it being done with like anybody who actually was involved in it, it was like, yes, obviously if you enjoy it, like it's, I guess you can pass your time however you want. If you're okay with like paying money for it, then you don't like need the money for something more important. Sure, it's your choice. It's like a free society, free country. But at the same time, the people usually like did it under the auspices of like, I want to improve in some way. And I know that like it was just like, they maybe had a good time, but I didn't see like there was any progress that's like measurable, quantifiable, or even in a qualitative sense, just meaningful progress being made. It was just spending time. And it's like, again, sure, you can just spend time, but maybe you don't have to pay as much money for just spending time. And maybe it could be with somebody who's like not there just because they're being paid. We also actually it's like building a friendship. Maybe we better like just by spending time. But I've seen like in the debating world, how much I have like issues with debating. Like there I've seen like dramatic quick progress when the people were like a team and they were just as a team trying like preparing for debates and trying to like debating through all kinds of problems. And like especially at like a level of a high school, like the kids in high school like learn so much so quickly when they're forced to like deal with debating every week, and so they have to like prepare a case both for and against an entirely new problem they've never heard anything about in their life, like every week at least, or multiple for a debating tournament. And then like maybe they're not like immediately geniuses or their arguments are not immediately the best, but you see that like within a year they essentially all learn to be competitive speakers of English language, which never happens when they're just learning it at school. However long you're learning it at school, it just won't happen. But it does happen within a year for anybody who starts trying to debate in English internationally, ideally. So it just happens. And then for like how much stuff you learn and then remember. Because like right now, like you can essentially pose me any question about anything, whatever you want, and I can launch into a structured speech with arguments and counter arguments for hours. And I mean it. It could be like literally anything. And the big reason for that is like I have had debates about most topics already. Or have seen people debate them like all like multiple arguments and levels of counter arguments, and I have also judged some of those debates, so I had to write up diagrams of like exactly what happened there in the debate and analyze it. And I've been doing it for now how long, since 14 years, so it's like almost 20 years now, even at my like still relatively young age, because you just start early with this.
It's just amazing where all this stuff leads you though, right? Like how you I mean, I never would have guessed we'd be doing this, 3-4 months ago. Like if you would have asked me where I'd be, I would have never thought I'd be building a podcast like this with someone from the Czech Republic, right? It's really interesting the turns that your life takes and where this could lead. It's just kind of blowing my mind a little bit. So I hope we can make it work. I hope we can make it fun, and I hope we don't teeter out anytime soon, because I'm really enjoying this. But we might need to come up with some kind of new word for joint mentorship, almost like a collaborative mentorship, but maybe we can kind of think of something cool or something to call it. Because I feel like that could definitely be a good selling point of this whole podcast, is kind of pushing collaborative mentorship.
I think like throw maybe the word peer in there somewhere.
Peer mentorship.
Because like the original model for this is the symposium, like I've already mentioned. That is what the OG philosophers did. This is what they did. They like were equals, and they were just hanging out debating stuff.
Yeah, and it's just something I think everyone in the world should at least have some version of in their life. Like if they're not thinking, if they're not pushing forward, then they're basically damned. That's the word for damned, is you're stuck, right? That's the whole idea of hell, is you're not progressing. Because so if you think, you're blocking the water.
The interesting thing about it is sort of independent of the content of like what you're specifically debating about. That's why it's fairly flexible, because you can set out your own class of problems to discuss. Like it could be work pretty well if it was mainly theological, or it could be environmental, or it could be just broadly like jumping from topic to topic. Like maybe they're connected by like the problems in the world and how to save them. Like you can have any through line, like what you're trying to figure out this way in a true philosophical fashion, because this is what true philosophy used to be before it became a academic nightmare. That it's like you just have things in life that you would like to understand more. And the way to do that is to debate those things with people who also would like to understand them more. And you don't have to agree. Like you definitely don't have to agree about anything. Sometimes if it's fairly competitive, or if the viewpoints are very different, is actually very stimulating. If you then can still respectfully debate with the people. Like in our case, like maybe we could use with more conflict. For that to be even more effective.